So I guess we are live now. Ooh, let me mute that. So I guess we are live now. Okay, there we go. You muted, I muted.
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to do a sound check, but I'm probably pretty sure. My thing was all screwed up when I came in. My Microsoft did that thing where they wanted to take over my computer and rearrange everything. And then I
Uh,
came back in the camera was like offset, and I still can't get that little thing out of the corner. And it was just really weird. I was like, what the hell's that about? Like, I didn't give nobody permission to screw with the camera.
yeah. So you got out today for a bike ride? It's a little cold out here.
It was a little cold. Yesterday was better. Yesterday was actually magnificent. And it
Yeah.
snowed that heavy snow. And then it started melting in the morning, and the trees and the wires and everything had like, how it builds up on the trees and everything, and all the branches started falling off. The weaker branches started falling off because of the heavy snow. So it was rather beautiful because of the flowering trees and everything. And let me put these up here. The flowering trees against the backdrop of the snow was like, so I went and got a bunch of pictures because it's an oddity. And so I went and took a bunch of film of that yesterday and rode around. It was like 45 or something. Today was really cold. I went out a few times and went to the store, went back. I forgot my milk, so I had to drive. I put my groceries in, and then I had to pedal all the way back to the store. And so that was three drives, and then I had to go to the convenient for lottery tickets and cigarettes. So I got out like 4 times. I was going to go head down to the park, but it still wasn't. I just don't want to walk around in the cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tomorrow we're getting good weather. I think we're done. I think today was like the last day. Like we had snow yesterday too.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so because it's getting old. My heater broke too in my house, so I've just been running a little one of those. Those little Amish heaters.
Yeah, yeah.
They call them Amish heaters. They're not really Amish heaters because they got lights inside of them, and they got and there's like 3 high intensity lights inside of them, and that thing heats the house okay. But I'd rather have my heater. I know what's wrong with my furnace, but I'm thinking, well, I'll just hold off on turning it back on because it's spring. But it's going to suck having to fix it. I got to pull my little back room where I got my refrigerator and my furnace. My refrigerator, I have to pull it. I have to pull either the washer or dryer or the refrigerator out of the house so I can get to the furnace and fix it.
Yeah.
Because I stuffed it back in this little closet. I put in. You got to open the doors, and it's like, this room it's just a little utility room. So it's like, it's a nightmare working in there because there is no room because I put everything in there that I don't want to look at.
Yeah, you just need one warm room, You don't have to heat the whole freaking house.
Yeah, that's what I got going now. It spreads out through the house, and I can't even turn the fan on, so I know what it is. It's a transformer blew, and it popped the outer switch for the power switch because the power switch has a breaker on it. So it's either got to come from one side or the other. So I figured that it goes down to the transformer, and the transformer had to blow. So that's the only thing. Or just the power switch blew, which would be really cool if it was just like $18.
Okay. How much does that cost?
It's a breaker switch. It's probably a little more than 18. It's probably like $50. And then I got to put it in. So I got to take it apart. But I'm really good at that shit.
Yeah, if you weren't, some of these knuckleheads, they charge a lot of money for that. They'll charge.
Oh yeah, I don't even call the furnace people. I'm hoping
they're ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not the motor. I don't think it's the motor. That would really suck. But I think it's just the external breaker switch that goes in, and then it breaks through there. You can turn it off you can turn the furnace on and off from a switch on the side. And So I'm hoping it's that. It seems to be that. Oh, come on back. Come on
Okay.
back. Okay. I went out of focus in life again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today we're talking about male empathy. Good thing or bad thing. I kind of put a joke. I didn't know it. I was supposed to do a study on this today, but I just didn't have enough time. I did the fork bike rides, and then like I got my shopping, put it all away, and then I started cooking, and then I passed out for like I don't know how long. I had like sugar pass out, and and then I realized it was like 7:18. We had planned this yesterday to go on, so it was like wow. Huh? So yeah. But there is a joke in the bottom I wanted to read. Researchers have hypothesized that men gain greater reward from alcohol than women.
Okay.
Do you believe that?
Yeah. Nah, I don't. I would say both lose out on that. I don't know. Like, what kind of rewards are they talking about?
Getting drunk, hanging around buds, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I probably wouldn't agree with that because all the problems that come with alcohol, with the the Me Too stuff, and
Well, that's the thing about. We were going to go into that. The thing about what happens when you do get drunk and you're out with the girls and everything, and they start simping, and that's where the emotional contagion comes in. You start thinking that you feel the same emotions, or you empathize with her in your drunkenness, which could never be a bad thing or never be a good thing, and bad things will happen, and we see that a lot at the bars and with the simps, and he's going to become baby daddy number 3 or 4.
yeah, yeah. It's just getting the what do you used to call it? Your muscles or something. What do they say?
Yeah, beer muscles. Beer muscles. Like you think you're tough. I think simps are generally like that. They think they're rather tougher on beer when they got the beer muscles.
Yeah, yeah. The women's like beer goggles or whatever.
Yeah. And the women look better.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I was looking at somebody put up on Twitter today about men fail to see. It was a Asian girl. She came on and she was bitching about the part of the brain in the frontal what part of the cortex. It was the visual cortex, frontal visual cortex, uh, is the thing in our brains that decipher what I call as the unhappy the unhappy valley,
Mhm.
not the unhappy valley, the uncanny valley. You know what the uncanny valley is?
No.
When you can decipher between something that's dead and something that's not dead, like a plastic doll is not alive. You can tell no matter how alive lifelike they make it, you're always going to be able to detect the uncanny valley. There's going to be a drop off. That's where in your waves, like you're not going to be emotionally attached to it and everything. But that has a lot to do with men in general. When we see things that are fake, we decipher through all of our brains work. When you're walking down the street, the complaint about on Twitter was that when men see a normal looking girl that doesn't have makeup on or is not overly dressed, doesn't have high heels, it registers as being he sees her, he has more emotional contagion towards her. He sees her as more of a human. But when he sees a woman that has lots of makeup, overly dressed, now the researchers in there said they were dressed stunningly. So you can imagine that they had high heels on, they had leg coverings, they had a dress that was almost plastic, the plastic look to their face. So men's minds register that.
Mm-hmm.
When their mind registers that, they see it as an object rather than a human.
Mm.
So when they're all fake, it's like the plastic girls. We used to call them plastic. They're all makeup dolled up and everything. When men see that, they register it as the same as they would with the uncanny valley thing. It drops down. They don't see it, the agency in it. They see it as an object. And the women were all freaking out about that. They didn't understand that.
It's like the Stepford wives.
Yeah. If you were to look, when a male looks at like a Stepford wife and she seems all plastic, it deregisters with them. They find that as very they see it as not human. They see it as an object,
like a sex slave.
Yeah, so it explains the way we think. But my question for the females is, like, if they do that, and they put like half a pound of makeup on plaster, she plasters up and plaster of Paris.
Yeah.
And it's like they're wearing a mask, and the men register it as a mask, and that surprises them.
I never liked it. I never liked women that wore a lot of makeup.
Yeah, but does that surprise you? The women were all like freaked out like about that, but it didn't surprise me at all, because I understand that, like you said, I don't like that.
No, it's gross. I mean, now
if you
when I was dating, it was just that smell and whatever. It's not even fun.
Yeah, no, there's the smell of makeup, there's the smell of plastics, and so you can do the visualization in your head, and you can actually do it to yourself. And when I think of the two types of women that we're talking about, the rather naturalized women with no makeup on, her skin's she's showing her skin because her skin's nice, and then you got the over plastic the plastic females. The mind does, and when I look at it, it's like, oh yeah, she looks like one of those little one of those dolls, or she looks like a plastic doll.
It really points to how women are so insecure.
Yeah, yeah, but if they're doing it to themselves, and they should understand that's how men read these things.
Yeah, I don't think there's such a thing as a secure woman. I don't think they exist. They don't exist, because they wouldn't act the way they do.
And it was shocking to me that I tried to write it to the author in a way that would be non-offensive and explain it to her, but I don't think, I think she just shut me down and no. And for the guys that are listening and they don't know, the uncanny valley is Mori Morimoto. It's people can tell the difference between dead objects, and warm-blooded things can tell the difference between cold objects and warm objects. Now, the common beetle, a cold-blooded beetle, cannot really tell as much if something is dead. And so there was a lot of study done on that. In humans, when you see something that is, I don't know, most people have never seen a dead human. Well, you've seen a dead human when you went to a wake or something. It was an open casket wake and everything. You knew, looked at it, and you said that is a dead object. Your mind interpreted it that way.
Yeah, I've only seen one.
Yeah, I've seen a lot.
Like dead, my friend had heart problems. He had a heart attack. He had a heart attack right when I was right there talking to him. And it was me. He was with his girlfriend, and was in his house, and he was, he just came out of the hospital, and then he had a heart attack right in front of me, and he died. I tried to resuscitate him, whatever, but then we had to call the ambulance. I told her I was pretty calm. I told his girlfriend to call the 911 while I was trying to resuscitate him.
Yeah.
And she was just hysterical, which whatever. That's
you did it for her, didn't you? You knew, but I
was pretty calm. I kind of knew it. I kind of said, okay, we have to call 911. Let me see if I can resuscitate it.
You knew he's dead.
I knew a little bit about resuscitating, a little bit. I just did everything I could. I didn't really know what the hell to do.
I had that.
That was a long time ago, but yeah. So it's not a. It wasn't a. I kind of blocked that moment away, but yeah, it's kind of
that's a horrible moment. I had the incident with the neighbor lady, and I came on, and I think Laz was on that day, and I just said, my neighbor I just gave her CPR and everything, and my neighbor ran over and he says, my wife, my wife. So I ran over there and she was in the car, and at that moment I looked at her and I knew. So I started giving her CPR, and I didn't want to put my lips on her lips and everything, but so it was just I just give her chest things and tell the people, but I was doing it for him to make him give him hope until they told him, because I didn't want to tell him that no, I think she's dead because I knew right away.
Yeah. The hard part for me was when I had to go tell the brother, you know, I drove to his.
Yeah, we do things for empathy and sympathetic reasons, and I guess that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about empathy. Males feel empathy in certain ways, and we don't feel empathy in other certain ways when we objectify something, and that seems to be a big gray area for women. They don't see it the same way, or their emotion takes over, and we tend to empathize with them, and a good example is when, like I used to say all the time, when you see a kid walking towards the street, and even I'm on my bike, and I've had this happen to me a couple times where I see a little baby walking out of the house, and I wish I would have got the snapshot because I would put it up on YouTube and made millions of hits. But the little baby's walking out of the house, and I forgot to turn my camera on at that point, and I just jumped off the bike and grabbed it and said, "Hey, little guy, you go back up. Hey, you don't want nothing bad to happen to you." There's an emotional empathy that goes on. Men, this kicks in with males, and it kicks in with what I talk about, Corvad's disease. It's a sympathetic empathy for her pregnancy. Men feel that, and they display symptoms of that. And that goes with fatherhood too. You're displaying emotional contagion. You're having and our whole society is built on this emotional contagion that men are somehow pregnant too. Men have babies. No, men don't have babies. Women have babies. You know, the logical imperative thing that is like only women can have babies. Men cannot have babies. Women are not men. You know, or you can do that several different ways. Like women have babies. Men cannot have babies. It's just a truth. It works out to a truth that we can't, and it's their baby, and so we share this emotional and that's the problem with men. It's an over emotional thing with them, and then they develop these, and it's so ingrained in our society. So empathy in that way, male empathy as we display it in that way, or if we see a poor mother and child living in squalor, we would fix that, wouldn't we? And that's a good empathy there, and that's why we pay taxes, and that's why we say, okay, Health and Human Services, take care of this problem. We'll pay you taxes, and you take care of these problems, so people don't have to live in poverty. But the definition of poverty is so skewed now. It's like it's really skewed, and I think. But men do these things. That's why we pay taxes. That's why we do that thing. But that's when we get taken advantage of most often, isn't it? Now, when you look at how the government takes advantage of us in taxes, they have become that social fact that sees their self now as the recipient of the tax. They become the recipient, not the impoverished. I mean, during the pandemic, everything else shut down, and the government was still paying themselves, and they refused to lay themselves off, and they were doing lighter than air work, and they weren't really doing nothing. Hey, did you see that article I put up yesterday?
Yeah, it was an Italian guy or whatever.
Guy that he was. They have socialized medicine there, so this guy took some time off, and then he just never went back, and they continued sending him his checks.
Oh, yeah. He was years. He was probably, he was probably tied up with some, organized crime stuff. I would think.
But only in the government can you do this, because in that kind of system, and that's what the system was taking care of the system. That's a good example of the system taking care of the system. And they become so self-interested in themselves that in the real world, in a real state of affairs, if you don't show up for your job in a month and nobody notices that That's not a real job. That's what I would call a lighter than air job, and that's what we
Well,
have.
even a week. Yeah, usually for me, it took about a week. They would have fired me.
Yeah, they would fire you because it would start to show in some kind of methodological manner, or it would start showing that this product wasn't moving. There would be an obvious impact on things, wouldn't
Yeah.
there?
Well, I remember this one manager was telling me she had a sales rep that, you work with your manager like once a month, once every 2 months or whatever, and she would take her to all these accounts, and then nobody knew who she was.
Yeah.
she'd been working the territory for I don't know, about a year, I'd say.
Yeah, and nobody knew. Yeah.
Who are you? Like they didn't even know who she was. So,
If you
so
don't
they had
show
to
up for your
fire. They had
job
to
for a
fire the
month,
sales rep. They had to fire the sales rep. Didn't even know her own company.
if you don't show up for your job for a month and nobody notices that you're gone, that's not a real job.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what we have in America. We have even. I bet there's a lot of them government positions. I talk about that. If these people didn't show up for a month, it would have no social impact at all. I mean, they wouldn't even be noticed. We're just paying them for lighter than air work. That's what I talk about. That's what I mean when I talk about lighter than air work. You have a job that if you didn't even show up, nothing would change.
Yeah.
That's a sad state of affairs, isn't it?
Of course.
Yeah. So I was reading Wininger, Ludwig, not Wininger, Wittgenstein. Wittgenstein, how to spell it is up in the air, that whether it's spelled with an IN or an IG. I see it all over, but he was the logical positivist that came up with a state of affairs. And I was trying to go over that for this thing, and there was just way too much reading involved with that. But he says in the real world, if your job, and he was he would say things like that. If you don't show up for a month and nobody notices that there has no social impact, and there's 6 or 7 things that if this happens, if not, that's not a real state of affairs.
Yeah, it's like the trash collector. Imagine they didn't collect trash for a month.
Yeah. Imagine if the trash collector didn't come, you would notice that. If the snowplows didn't come around,
right.
And even that, if the snowplows don't come around in the summer, that's not a real state of affairs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there shouldn't be people that are being paid to plow snow in the summer.
Right.
So stuff like that, and I don't think
just in case though. No, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't think the government gets it very well.
No, they just throw money away, burn money. They give people incentives.
They're burning your money, and that's what bothers me. And then
there's more incentives there in the like. There's more incentives in the government than it's bad now, because it's like there's not a lot of incentives anymore working for a corporation. The only incentives is a promotion.
Yeah,
like, it's not an incentive to. Like if you're in sales, at least, like there's not a lot of incentives when you're working for somebody anymore, because they always screw up the bonuses. They're always changing it, and they're always. But like a government job, it's like, yeah, I mean, there's like a lot. I think there's more incentives. I think.
Yeah. How much?
It's weird. Yeah, it's odd to say that, but I think it's true. I think there's more incentives because they have good benefits and.
Right now we had an example
security,
this last 2020. Most of the government people went home and didn't do their jobs. How much of that really had an impact on society? Did you notice any impact at all, besides a slight impact at the grocery stores, the distribution center? But that was more of the truckers were unable to, or the distribution centers didn't know whether they were going to lay off or until they came out with the non-essential workers and essential workers, thing. It's like they were a little confused at certain times, but the government people were still getting paid, going home, not really doing anything, and nobody even noticed that they were gone.
Yeah. The truckers are so important, man.
You think the rail workers, the truckers, and you get your packages. A lot of those packages get on rail, and they pack those things, and they just ship them so fast across America now. from one end to the other, you get your package in 2 days, and some people even, it used to be 4 days or 5 days. Remember when it was like 10 days to get a package?
Oh yeah.
Now it's like 2 days. Amazon's got that stuff down to it, and FedEx and Amazon. I usually get my packages from California in 4 days, and I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's
These
real
people
good.
really do a good job. But if they didn't show up for work, you would feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And that tells me a lot about life and everything. And I can't remember how to bridge that back to what we were talking about in emotional contagion. but we went off on a tangent. But that's okay. We can do that. It's my it's my podcast.
Yeah, it's true. There's lighter than air jobs or something else, man. Like,
Oh yeah, that goes back to the social fact thing, and I always try to explain the social fact at least once or twice in the either any. I mean,
that's
and
what.
that just proves that we just don't need all these people in the
No,
government.
you know, like it's all these like it's like these politicians. The older you get, the more you should really see how stupid they are. I mean, like, you know,
Yeah,
younger, you don't understand. You're a little naive. Like these guys, they're articulate, they're educated, you know, educated on paper, but in reality, they're a bunch of dummies and they're just corrupt. They're pretty much. I mean, they're corrupt, right? And they don't make any contribution. What do they do? Giving a speech?
yeah,
Like they lie when their lips are moving. They're lying. So they don't really bring any value, you know. So. Yeah, so they suck. They're terrible. The
yeah.
politicians, they're the worst. That's talk about lighter in air job. I mean, gosh.
Right, right. But these people are so disattached from reality in the government that I mean, I always bring it back to the polygamy thing in females and how they believe that and what their reality is and how people can believe that there's an alternate reality and there's electric stuff going on between females and males and they electrically connect. It's like that stuff's garbage and everything. And but a lot of our laws are set up that way, and a lot of our government is set up that way based on truths. So we when we do think about the social fact of where we're supposed to be empathetic males, we're supposed to pay taxes, and we don't need these people that like I say, basically on the lower levels of this thing, the city things. Like I said, there's 7, 8 in this small county here. There's 7, 8 government buildings packed with people making money, and I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
And we don't need that.
No, just yeah. Like you don't need a life coach, you know, because
Yeah,
talk about life coaches, like yeah, you don't like they're useless too because all they're telling you is be a better slave, pretty much. That's all.
yeah. That was
Terrible advice.
that thing we were watching with the Big Ed thing that you were like freaking out about.
Oh yeah, yeah, that guy. Yeah,
90 days
yeah,
to
yeah.
fiance, and yeah, it's like they're gonna make it. And that guy
What
was,
happened to his neck? Did he have
yeah,
had
he
an
had a
accident?
disease, but it's
Oh,
and, I knew a guy that had one of those diseases, and he would pass out all the time. His blood would uh, his blood would get cut off to his brain, and he would just pass out. It's like,
wow.
but
Yeah, the more I think of it, I think that was just a setup. I think that's just a setup. That whole show. It doesn't make any
yeah,
sense. These young
yeah,
girls.
it made no sense. And the girl that was on there, she was being the life coach to him, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was life coaching him on how to pick up like what to say to women. It's so unnatural and so.
Oh yeah, she used the hand movements and the gestures and put her hand on top of his to display empathy. Like she's so empathetic to him, and that's
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
when you tell somebody that your husband has just died. You're supposed to put your hand on their shoulder and apply light pressure, and that.
Mm-hmm.
But even though you don't want to do it, that's what they tell you to do, and
Well, it's
so
like these men that ask women out. They're just that's not a manly thing to do. It's not natural. It's not. Yeah.
no.
You're just an idiot.
In my experience in life, they come to you, and
Right.
you've
Right.
always had that experience too. They will come, and they
Right.
still do it all the time. I have to just kind of be what would I say? I just be unavailable or
Right.
obtuse. I
Like,
just
like when I like I mean, like in school, like I remember way back, like you get a couple nice looking girls from school, like they would hang out in my locker, they would just
yeah.
they would just hang out by my locker and just start talking to me. It's like, okay, yeah, obviously they're interested, and so I wasn't the guy buying flowers and
No, I was.
that's like just so corny. Buy flowers and give it to a chick, I mean,
I wanted to just do other things. I wanted to go fishing and run around
right,
with guys
right.
and run through the woods as fast as I could.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was playing sports and I like to compete, and I used to play poker and gin rum. I was playing when I was, 15, 16, 17. I was a young
Oh yeah, card
teenager
games
doing those kind.
popular.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
at that point in my life, it was when I was a kid. Card games were like you brought $2 in quarters or nickels
yeah.
in quarters, and you played cards all day at Nickel Annie, and
We were crazy. We were crazy back then. I was like, that was a maniac. Like this is like 30 years ago. I'm like 30
yeah,
years. I remember I won like $80. I won $80 and it was like a big score.
yeah,
It was like 1992. I don't know inflation what that is now. Probably not that much either, but
yeah.
it was like a
80 bucks
fun
is
thing to
pretty
do. I
good.
wasn't interested in like I didn't give a shit about girls and stuff, not that much, but whatever. But they would come around every now and then, they just come around,
But that's the difference between a MGTOW kind of a MGTOW centered guy. He doesn't really. I'm not out. We weren't out looking. We weren't out. It just
No,
happened, and some
no,
of us got sucked in. Some of us fell for the trap, and then we
no. And you
realized that it's very unnatural to act like the simps. It's very.
right, it's very unnatural. And the thing is unfortunately I'd say it's in the high 90%. Well, at least, yeah, I'd say it's over 90% of men are simps. That's, I mean,
Yeah,
I hate to talk down about men, but it's just true. And then the problem is like, so it's hard finding people to hang out with that are not simps, so
yeah.
they're going to influence you sometimes. So you just have to
Yeah.
kind of stay away
Oh
from
yeah,
them.
you're going to go out. You're going to have to deal with that. They're always pursuing. Well, I still have a 70-year-old friend that he pursues women when we go out, and
Yeah. Yeah.
like
I do too.
it's very
I do
unnatural
too.
for me. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, we're not that's off. The default,
Yeah.
it's a default position right now, which is asexuality. It's off. I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah. And if you are, it's nobody's business. I mean, it's like, whatever, you don't talk about
Yeah,
it. And,
yeah, but we still have to deal with that, and it just seems weird. And we laugh about it all the time with the simps and the
yeah.
plaster of
They're
Paris.
playing with dynamite, like I said. Like it's just they're playing with dynamite. Like that guy in that guy Ed or the 90. What's it called? 90 Day, whatever.
Yeah,
Fiance.
Big Ed.
Yeah, he's like. I don't know. Yeah, the empathy thing. I don't know what he's. I don't know. Like, does he understand he's playing with dynamite?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, it's like
it's like
holding
he's like asking to get blown up.
that stroke and a stick of dynamite. That's what I say. It's like petting a
Right.
snake.
It's like going on a date with Claire. She's.
Oh, did you get yours?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
She got the Lifetime Achievement Award last year for her work, but I give her credit. But like the thing is, like she's carrying like 3 knives on her, right? One on her ankle, one on her hip, and then one probably on her shoulder. And like she's gonna anytime she could use any of those knives on you. Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna launch one of those at you pretty soon, and you should be prepared. And when it does happen, we all
Yeah.
freak out. I know how I felt, but I learned that was the best learning experience of my life. When I came out of that haze, and she said those words that it's none of my business anymore, and I realized that it was never anybody's business what I did.
No, it's your body, your choice. Exactly. Your
choice.
mind, your thoughts. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and I went to the other side of this thing, and I see these guys struggling through this, but they're still emotionally attached. They're still exhibiting that emotional contagion that towards they have empathy. They're over empathizing, and
Right.
me, I don't empathize that much. When she told, it's none of my business. It's her kids, she said. And I
Yeah.
said, the judge said it was her kids, and I agreed. I said, no, that is you're 100% right. They are hers. She made them. It's her body, her choice. She can do whatever she wants, and I can too.
That's right. That's right.
And I mean, I take that to the extreme and everything. And but but I'm not wrong about my analogies on this. I am totally. Most men freak out when they hear me talk about these things. It's like, well, you're not
Yeah.
the contagion. You're not sick. Why aren't you sick? They're saying.
Yeah. Well, like we talk about nature, like they're not like they don't like these animals. They're not going around having sex all the time. Like
No, they're worried
they're
about
just walking around in like you watch, they're just walking around in
stuff.
nature, trying to find food, and they're relaxing. They're not like humping all the time, and
They're just
you
playing,
know,
running around in the leaves and shit, and having a blast.
yeah,
It's
they're
like,
not like this. That's not. There's something wrong with that. If you're having those thoughts all the time, it's like it's really not normal. It's like
yeah,
I heard someone say that once. They're doing a podcast, like, oh, you think about sex like at least once every 10 minutes. I stopped listening. I liked his channel, and I had to. I unsubscribed. I guess I'm not listening to this fucking idiot anymore. That's
yeah.
the stupidest comment to make.
You're doing something like this, you have to have a decorum about yourself, and you can't be thinking about that stuff. I mean,
No,
from
no.
working on a car to going to work to driving your car, they're thinking about it all the time, and they're wondering why they're so neurotic.
I had a friend that was a PUA in a big city, and there's a lot of availability to do that PUA stuff. And he was a good friend of mine. I grew up with him. I kind of had to make a decision to cut him off because he's just out of control. I mean, I stayed at his house once. I mean, he was like, it was like 4 or 5 women and like 6 different women in like a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I cannot be around him anymore. I just can't do it. It's just not working. I can't have him. I can't have him as a friend. He's a bad influence.
And it affects our lives, like business ventures, and men. Anytime men get together, there's always some kind of business venture. Like, what are we going to sell? What are we going to make? What are we going to do here? Uh,
Right.
When you pick your friends and you group up as friends, you pick males sort their friends very good, and with interests, similar interests, and most of those interests are about economics, about what can we do together? Can we work on cars? Can we build buildings? Can we weld bridges? Can we what is this thing that we do as a group of males? But when you have that one guy in there, and mind is always drifting off to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
he's a problem in a group. We usually sort that out. And most ordinary groups and male norms in ordinary groups would be, we can't have them run. Even in the Army, we sorted that out when we started working our way up the ranks and the specialized positions. Like, we sorted that out. We couldn't have guys that were always thinking about the girl at home, Jane, and because there's bigger things at risk. There's the team, there's the group. It's like you don't want those guys drifting off and in La La Land thinking about doinking Mary Sue.
Yeah. And then because it should be about having a better quality of life, and hopefully, really, to me, retiring early, I think is good. Like I think you should. I think 50 is about a good age to retire. Like they kind of screwed us.
Yeah.
They kind of screwed it. Like it's like they kind of the education system, whatever you want to call it, like the society, like
right.
They kind of have it in your head that 65 is retirement, and that's kind of a bunch of bullshit because if you work hard enough, you can probably retire even at 40, like 40 or 50, right?
Right. If the opportunity,
but the programming or whatever you want to call it is like the 65 age. Well, you should try to retire as early as you can, like and high quality of life.
Capitalism, and you weren't losing all the time. You could probably, the average male work life should be about 20 years.
Yeah, that's right.
You've done enough in society. You've built enough houses. You've made enough food. You did your part, and that has a lot to do with agriculture and building and infrastructure. If you worked in agriculture, building infrastructure, manufacturing for 20 years, you've done enough.
Right.
You should retire, and then that would open up new spots for other guys that want to retire too. That's how the system should work. that's sort of Maoism, but
yeah,
the American capitalists, you got people that are doing lighter than air jobs,
yeah.
like I talk about. So that puts 10 years on your work life. And then you got people that do predatory capitalism.
Yeah.
That puts another 10 years on your work life. So you're working 40 years, to retire, because we have two segments of society that do lighter than air jobs.
Yeah, like I would have, if I had the knowledge I had now, I would have, done like, been like a plumber or something like that, right? Because I could start working when I'm 18. So I'm 18. It would take maybe, I don't know, a few years to learn how to do the trade, and then you can start a business. You got the energy because you're young, right? And then you can pretty much make as much money as you want, as much as you want to work. And then once you hit around 40, then you can kind of, you maybe mentor people, right? You're not even doing the work. You're just showing them how to do the work. You should not be like if you're getting into your 50s or 60s and you're really doing a lot of like tough labor, you really, that's not a good position to be in, because that's where you're gonna
you shouldn't
have a lot of health issues too, and a lot of stress. I see, so that's what I would, if I had to do it over again, I would have done that, like plumber or
I see capitalism.
Yeah, something like that. I think that's the best job. I think plumber is I think, there's a lot of opportunity. You can build a business, you can expand it, you can do so much with it. Like this whole college thing, and I got sucked in. I got sucked into that college thing, and I was a pretty good student, so school was kind of easy for me. And and so it just, now it's like I'm doing more of it because I'm like kind of, that's the path I took, and it's too bad I didn't have more information, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I saw 20 years. Now we do over 20 years of work because we pay for. We have social programs, and I believe in social programs. I think that maybe I'll work another 5-6 years, and that goes towards social programs and stuff like that. And but yeah, social capitalism is all screwed up. And they just don't look at it right, and they don't look at when we talk about the social contract and everything. Somebody made a joke about the social contract, and I think it was House. I was watching House, and him and you can look it up. It's episode something in season 5 when they talk about the social contract, and they both agree at the end. They're coming out of the elevator, and they said he says, so the social contract is just you lie to him, he lies to you, and everybody lies to everybody.
It's terrible. The whole lawyer thing. These lawyers, I think, I can have empathy towards them because they got sucked into a terrible profession. And same thing with doctors. They got sucked into this terrible profession, and it's unfortunate because they're under a lot of stress, and and whatever. It's So I think those are better. Like the reason, I think those blue collar type jobs are better too, because you're not dealing with women either, right? Like if you're in a corporation,
right?
You have to deal with the simp boss. I mean, shit, that sucks. Like or dealing with a simp coworker, or right, in a corporation, like your HR person who's a simp. Like you run your own business, you're a plumber or something, forget it. You can develop. I think your personality can develop into something stronger. I think when
your agency is much higher. You have more faith in yourself. You can do you're doing every portion of the job and everything. And you have.
It's not good. It's not good. These jobs are not good. Working for a corporation is not good. It's just not good. They want too much. You're giving up too much.
Want playing too much. I think it should be 20 years and out, and you retire.
Yeah.
If you're working in agriculture for 20 years, you've done enough. You've done enough for society, and I believe all that should be split up. I believe in Mao's sort of socialism, where everybody works on the farm for 8 years, and everybody in the building for 4 years, and everybody works in manufacturing for another.
But the problem with that is you're going to have the people with power are always going to take advantage. That's
right. People want power, and they don't want to do that. That's why there is these power jobs and these lighter than air jobs, because those people have decided for just because they don't feel they have to do those menial task labor jobs. But I believe everybody should. We all should split it up evenly. And you know how good it would be for the males in our society that after 20 years you retire, say, and then you're not ruining your body
No, it's not good.
You can have
Even
a
the corporate guys, they got to do all that traveling. Like they do a lot of traveling
yeah,
for their jobs, and that's stressful too. You get in and out of airports, and
right. They're always running
it's
mails.
not easy.
Something
Yeah, it's not easy.
during and
Staying in hotels, sleeping in hotels, and yeah, it might be a nice hotel, but it's still not. It's not fun.
yeah, it's mentally trying, and that wears on your mental health after a while. And they wonder why the rate of what is that called? The rate of mental illness in elderly is so high. Uh,
Yeah.
we can do things to help that out if we structure the society. Who did the division of labor? Oh, I think that was the division of labor was written by I think it was Durkheim. Yeah, Durkheim's division of labor, and I
Yeah.
wanted to get that book and read it and kind of go through what his Durkheim's ideas. And I was thinking Prokopkin, the division of labor, but
What was he from, Durkheim?
Durkheim was a French sociologist,
Oh, okay.
and Prokopkin was a he was a he was a socialist, a Russian socialist.
Yeah.
So yeah. I always meant to go back and read that one. I got like 3 audiobooks built up, and I got 3 credits, and I've been wondering what I'm going to use them on because I have like 60 books in my audiobook thing,
Wow.
and I got half of every one of them read, and I probably got about half of the books read full, but the other half I just got like chapters, like the first 10 or 12 chapters read, and I got to go back and say it's just, there's not enough time in a day to read all that stuff.
No.
And then I got all these credits built up now. It's like, fuck, I'll start losing $19 credits. That would drive me nuts.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good question. Empathy, male empathy, good or bad. I mean,
Yeah, male
it's
empathy.
probably both. I don't know. I say it's probably both. I don't know. I don't know. It can be good. It can be bad. I mean,
Yeah, well, now we explained like if you're over empathetic as a male, you start simping, you start doing too much. That's where the society, it's
yeah,
when it strips us out of the society, that's where a lot of suicide comes from, isn't it? So
yeah,
that's a bad
yeah,
thing. Male empathy in that way, and that when the pressures of society raise too high, and men believe in this, they're empathetic about the poor, they're empathetic about women, the children, the blah blah blah. There's the children, the women, they're suffering, and we just, and then that raises up too high, we start talking about suicide rates then. And if it's too low and the men don't, we talk about suicide rates then too. There's a lot of
yeah,
things happen in there with men. So empathy is, you can be overly empathetic, and not to be confused with sympathetic, but yeah, empathy could be a bad thing in that regards when you stop thinking about yourself, and I mean, who's going to take? No one's going to take care of me. No, and
yeah.
old. It's like, and I am old.
No, and
Oh,
then they
that
got like it's like that. What that one guy say to you? Like, what was that term you used? Remember that Christian guy? He's like, oh, that you must have done something bad, or
right? Yeah, that's just world fallacy. You must have did
yeah,
something to
yeah.
deserve just world fallacy.
You
That's an
must have done. You must have done something bad, like
you got original sin. That's why you should suffer.
Right,
They can
right.
justify anything. The justification in that's all it is to make themselves feel better about a cruel
E-
world we live in.
Even you reap what you sow. I mean,
Yeah,
that's really simplistic comment. It's like people don't get it. They don't. You got to dig in deep to what that is.
right. People
Like
say
that,
that.
those
It's like,
Christian principles are not. They're not really. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you reap what you sow.
Like be humble, like that to me. Be humble is like let people shit all over you,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, so that's people
What
take
they're
that
really
and
saying
do
is
that
let
around.
me shit all
Yeah,
over.
yeah, like you reap what you sow. Well, geez, that's not necessarily true. Boy, guys they got married with good intentions, they took their vows or whatever. I'm going back to the tradcon stuff, but but they were loyal to their wives, and they worked hard, and they saved their money, and they tried to provide a family. Next thing you know, they get a note, and their wife says, "Oh, I don't think this is going to work." It's like, what do you mean? That's not reaping what you sowed. You sowed into this idea, and you did everything you could, and were loyal, and then they were not loyal, and so you can't reap what you sow is kind of horseshit too. I mean, I mean, like, so yeah, so I think the whole idea is kind of to you have to understand, do that self introspection, understand what your beliefs are and where they came from, and so I don't know what were we talking about before, but yeah, that whole thing, just the whole thing about these ideas like that come up, like these common sayings, and sometimes you just got to take a step back and really analyze what's being taught, and
right, yeah,
challenge it. It's good to challenge those things.
Well, that's what makes MGTOW such a great philosophy, and it is a philosophy. It's a traversable philosophy. MGTOW is a traversable philosophy. It's easy to traverse and go through. If you just start thinking about it like every other philosophy, you have to examine these things. You have to put things on the table, look at them. You have to examine them, see if it's true, and to take things off. And it always starts with that existential angst, or that skepticism, or that nihilism, which are all three the same thing. And no matter what one you believe in, they're all the same thing. You've come to a point in your life where you want to live in a truthful world, not a made up fantasy fiction world.
Yeah. You got to come up with your own.
Yeah, and that's where MGTOW is a philosophy. I don't want to live in that fantasy fiction world where girls are angels, and we do everything for them. We kill ourselves for them. No,
survival. I mean, I think the number one thing, I think it was that Dianetics book, which is it's like two versions of it, but the older versions.
Yeah.
I guess he was talking about this. Like, the first thing he leads off the book is about survival.
Yeah,
and it makes perfect sense. Like, that's the first thing, and that's nature, right? Nature, that's kind of what the animals do, right? And even the plants too, right? It's all about, for them, it's all about survival, right? So that's like, for us, that's survival is the ultimate. That's the number one thing that you have to always, self-preservation. And
right.
Yeah, it's a very important thing. So you start venturing into this fantasy world with these women, I mean, you're gonna get your head chewed off, man. There's like, women are the biggest predators, because they're the biggest predators because they disguise it so well. They're able to, like Claire. Claire, she comes in, she's got long legs and nice hair, or whatever. She looks good and shapely, whatever. And then you don't know she's got those three knives, and
right.
So survival, and that ties into like you said, the stresses of life, and then that's why men, and a lot of times I think too, I think men induce heart attacks in themselves, like, instead of committing suicide. I don't know if that's true, if the research has been done on it, but I think you see these men that are having heart attacks at 30s and 40s and really young, and I think a lot of it is self-induced. They're under so much stress. They said, the hell with it. It's like a form of suicide in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Now,
what do you think of that? That's like my theory. Because you should not be having a heart attack in your 20s or 30s.
No, you shouldn't. I had a buddy that had a heart attack, and he hit his 50 years old. They had a heart attack, worked himself to death, and everything. So
right, stressed out.
Not right at all. It's just, there should be empathy for his male, female to male, or from human to human empathy, and that. Forrest had a good question. I don't know if it was a question you're talking about internal phenomena itself, or the might make one act. And I had something written about that. And I was going on yesterday about, and I got kind of confused in the topic. Where did I put it? Yeah, I went off the topic a little bit. It's free will. You action, free will. It's just ideological force is. When you're talking about empathy, you're talking about an ideological force that will propel you to do something into action. But then we start talking about free will, permission to give free will permission from society to indulge in the force to act. There's your will in itself, your action to do that is a successive attempt to force your idea of action into manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is an action involved with your empathy. We see it all around. We collect taxes to take care of the baby mamas. We want to take care of the kids. We want these things taken care of and everything. So we do need a portion of welfare or government in our society to regulate those things. And then when you're doing that thing, you're doing language to action to a part of. And that's will. You're willing. You're willing that on. There's other things too. The ideas of language to critique an idealized wrong. So when we complain about things, or we're doing that, we're idealized wrong. We're willing that action into existence through empathy, through these. What would I forget what the passions. We're having these passions, and we're willing it into empathy, or we're willing it into existence.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of thought that I had put into this yesterday, but it was just, man, it's so hard to articulate what the passions really are and how to explain those things.
Yeah.
And in MGTOW, our philosophy is always to action. What we do now, after you get done with your MGTOW, is we take the things off the table, we put things down, we realize that there's certain truths about that we were lied to. Every MGTOW comes to this point in his life, in his MGTOW life, where he goes, "What now?" And that's where you take action, and you try to force your will onto society. And that's free will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but,
I think survival is definitely
survival is a big thing.
Use your free will to really
you have to force
life. Your quality of life and survival.
Your quality of life. You're concerned about your quality of life.
Yeah. I don't think men understand that. Like they don't seem to understand that. Like how you're creating a lot of issues for yourself. You don't consider
right.
survival.
With others.
Too much empathy, like you said. Too much empathy. It's too much empathy.
Yeah, it's too much empathy. When is the male life? My brother used to articulate it, and there's only so many cases in a man's body. That means there's only so many. If you're a dock worker, you can move so many cases before that has hurt your body. And society at that point is responsible to take care of you. But they don't think they are. There's no empathy to you at that point, like we explained earlier. After your cases run out and you can't move another case because your back's hurting. And in the early 90s, I don't remember if you remember when Reagan and the Gingrich gang went after the people that had back problems from working because they didn't understand working.
Wow. They did? They actually did that? Wow.
Yeah, Republicans were going after people on Social Security and workers that were filing for back issues. No, if you're a warehouse worker, you're going to have back work.
Of course.
Yeah. And society is responsible to take care of you because look, you got all your oil delivered to your car, you got your food delivered to through this guy. Now you're going to disregard him as a disposable male.
I know.
I think it's one of the worst things that the Republican Party, their philosophy is discarding that male that has done so much for you. I mean, you probably ate 10 times in your life because of that guy.
Yeah, they're doing the lighter than their jobs, and they're like, they're trying to say, that they don't want to work or.
You
know how many jobs I've applied for since I left my job? Like a lot. Like and I've got all this education and experience. I've been turned down for 4 or 5 jobs already, and it's like it's kind of ridiculous. Like I should not be turned down for all these jobs. There's no way. Now with my education.
Well, your age now, and you got to deal with age.
Yeah, and I got to deal with ages. Yeah, it's like so the whole thing is like I haven't. It's like come on. It's like I don't want to work. Yeah, okay, I'm applying for all these jobs.
It's funny that at a certain age, kind of the whole social concept and there's some intuition, some social intuition that a certain age that people shouldn't be working at a certain age, and that's kind of flows out into the the thoughts of society, but no one could put. So when they're displaying ageism towards you and me, when we go for those jobs, they're just displaying the thoughts that they know that something's wrong that hasn't been fixed because I still have to work.
Yeah.
So they know that society in general. I can't remember who Kierkegaard. We used to talk about these things that we all just kind of know. When you see an old man, you know he's not supposed to be working. He's done.
No, you just know exactly. I've seen this lady at the McDonald's, a really nice lady, and I don't go to McDonald's anymore. I haven't been there in like almost a year, but
yeah, if you see an elderly person,
yeah, like she's a real nice lady. And I guess first thought in my head was like, why is she working? There's a nice lady. She probably, I don't know, like she's a very positive person. Like I don't know what she's doing work. Like she should not be. Yeah, she had to be like 70 years old or something.
And your soul's telling you that no, that person should not be working.
No, they're doing it because they want to. Maybe get out of the house once a week or whatever.
I could see that. Like the greeters at Kmart, they're not doing a big job, but they're just saying hello to people coming in and being happy.
Yeah. Sometimes they just do it for health benefits or whatever. But like, but
there shouldn't be no reason why
but especially not on a construction crew or something like that, or a traffic crew or something. They should not be out in the elements.
Oh yeah, like a guy like me should never be. As pretty as I am too. It's like Jesus, why would it?
I know.
How as pretty as I am, I should never be working at this age.
That's like a dark revelation that we just have there.
Yeah, it's a dark revelation. Maybe that's the them they were talking about, huh?
Dark revelation. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not trying to disregard. Like, there's a lot of dark things in this world, and that's definitely one of them. Like, you should be able to enjoy your life into your like my friend's father's like 95, I think now. He's retired at 68. Even that's kind of late. 68 to me seems like a little late to retire.
It seems like he's done enough in society. And if there was this omnipotent God keeping track of these things, and at least our government should keep track of these things better. That no, this guy worked on a line for 30 years. There's no reason that he should have to work after that.
No, I'm done. As soon as I get my Social Security, I'm done. I'm not gonna.
But I might
sell like used cars on the side or do something, pick up a couple bucks. I'm not working. I'm done. That's it.
But a guy like me, it's like, do you have you should have worked long enough to where you, I did put into at Emron, at Mobil Oil. Yeah, they stole that. And then they stole my next one too.
Yeah.
And my Teamsters one is not worth much. It's like, how could I retire when it's a predatory capitalism has stolen everything from me?
Yeah, and they'll steal it all too. Like the biggest owner of cryptos is the government. That's why I never really got heavy into cryptos. I made a couple bucks, whatever, this month, but I sold most of it off because I just
sold it almost off.
Because I don't because when I found out the government owns most of the cryptos, I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, it started in Washington D.C., didn't it? The
control so much of that market. They can control. Like the best thing to do is just buy the buy the cheapest stocks out there and then just wait. But the thing is, like, they manipulate so much of that market. And the same thing with the 401k. That's another scam. They're just trying to take your money. They're just trying to take your money.
Trying to take your money. Yeah. And
The 401k is bad because they don't give out like the 401k. Oh, we got a company match. You can do the 401k. Yeah. Well, of course they're trying to suck you in. They're trying to suck you into their scam.
Well, that was the big scam with the Emron thing when I worked for Mobil for 20 years. And, I worked hard for 20 years and that didn't pay off. They stole every cent of that.
Right. It's not good. It's just not good. They got everyone coming and going and they're just trying to take your money and, like the taxes are just way too high now for it's like, that's why I like the idea of living in a state with no state income tax or very low state income tax.
Yeah, there should be no,
if you live in California, New York, or that's, unless you have a good job, like unless you have a really good gig, then those are not really good states to be in.
Yeah. So, how do we take care of it? What if you were a victim of society here?
Of course.
How do you prove that? What if your health or your finances were stolen, your health depletes, and all of a sudden society's not taking care of you? That says a lot about our society.
Well, the people that say everything's okay are the ones that have profited from it.
Yeah, everything's okay for them because they have a
everything's okay for them because they're the ones that they're doing lighter than air jobs, so they don't have a lot of stress and whatever, right? They have low stress lives, because they want everyone else working like dogs.
I heard Jordan Peterson speak upon that, and he got it all backwards and wrong from a educator point of view. He's like men that stop working, they stiffen up, and I know you heard him say that they stiffen up and then they can't go back to work. And it's like, no, that work too hard.
Yeah,
they're too many years and their bones stiffen up, and then it's hard for them to work. That's how that goes. They've already done their duty to the society. He's got that half backwards, like they just stopped working. Now they stiffen, like all men stiffen up. That's like, no, that's such a lie. That's not even, man. If I ran that through a truth table, that would come out false. What a jackass Jordan Peterson was for saying that.
Yeah, I can't listen to that guy more. I don't even know what the hell he believes in. I can't. I know he's a freaking idiot. I know that.
Yeah,
people want to say he's smart because he's a professor at a good university. University of Toronto has a good reputation, but at the end of the day, those guys are all just they're just a bunch of parrots. They're just they're controlled parrots, and
of course he when he did his last thing, he was arguing against logical positivism with Zizek. Zizek was arguing for logical positivism, and it showed that of course you're going to argue against logical positivism because you violate it so much.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. The people in power, again, are always going to defend the system because they're benefiting from it.
Right, they're benefiting from the system, and he teaches a few classes, and boy, I wish I could have done that.
Sure. And
I was looking at a book the other day, and it's like, and I was going through that same stress. It was like it was a $240 book, and I wanted to buy it, and I couldn't do it. And I thought, how fair is this world where a guy like me can't get a book, and then I have to go to these educators and beg for that book, or beg for somebody to give me sections of it for free, which I wanted to read, and he's part of that system that that system, knowledge and stuff like that, it should all be free. And
I don't even want to know what he's making. It's really disturbing.
Yeah, when
he's making a few million, he's making probably a few millions. I mean, his job at the university probably pays. You can probably look it up. It's public knowledge, probably, but he's got to be making at least $250,000 to $500,000.
Right.
Just as a professor, that's it. And then you're not talking about the side deals and talks he does, and books he writes.
That brought me back to I went down for this one course when I was probably 30. It was the motor control and electronics course when I was 30 some. And the book was I had the purchase the 2002 or 2000, I can't remember which, the upgraded electrical manual, and that was $350. And then I had to purchase the book, which was $280, and I was stressing it. I was like, plus the course itself was like $720.
Yeah.
And then it was like, that was the early 90s or something. I can't remember when it was. And I was like just stressing getting that. And I was re-going over that this week, like how unfair was that to me?
Yeah.
There's like almost post-traumatic stress coming back when I can't remember which book I wanted to order. I think it was I can't remember which one. Oh no, it wasn't Hannah or Dance. I can't remember. I got it on my Amazon. I stare at it every day on my Amazon, trying to think of how I can afford that.
Yeah.
But life is
library have it.
Yeah, I think my stealing from the library days. I've blown that so many times that I can't even go in the library now because they just go, "What do you steal another book?"
Well, you just borrow it and then have your friend borrow it back.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of ways. That's what I used to do. I used to always, I'd save a couple $100 every semester. Like I would just take the books out of the library.
You just learn how to steal books.
I wouldn't steal them. I would just take them out of the library.
I think that's what made me into a book thief, because and I would just look everywhere to steal a book, because man, after paying, I mean, that was just one
Yeah.
class. How many classes do we do in our lifetime?
There's so many bad books out there, though. There's like,
Yeah, even like the sociology books, $150, and the mathematics books are 160, 170. Books are like terribly over costly. Hey, Bristy boy, how you doing?
Brisky boys in the house.
Yeah, Bristy boy's in the house, and we were talking about male empathy. Is there
Yeah.
too much male empathy good? And there's other forms of other. I was trying to remember the other forms of empathy where it's a bad thing. I can't remember.
The bad thing if it hinders your survival. I think that's the main. Yeah. That's the main. Like if you're around, if you're around all these, like you're paying for, like we talked about, like before, like paying for someone else's bitch. That I think that ties into that too. Paying for someone else's bitch type thing.
Yeah, you're empathetic to him.
Like I go out with these Simpsons, like they got. It just seems like they have no money because they're paying for their. Like I'm always the one with the money, paying for picking up tabs all the time and shit. I kind of get sick of it after a while, and I lose respect for them.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, then I don't go out to eat as much with them. I don't really want to be around them as much. It's like, you're supposed to reciprocate. It's like,
right. You're supposed to reciprocate.
Yeah, they don't do enough of that. Like these simps don't do enough of that because they to them it's like they never seem to have enough for themselves because they got.
It pisses me off. Even when they can reciprocate, they don't, because they want to still shower their girl with gifts.
Right. Because you don't see married guys doing that. Like I don't see. I look back at my history. I don't remember. I don't really know of a lot of married guys that would be real generous. They're really not. They're not very generous. They're generous with their families, maybe.
Right. They're generous with family. My theory on that, the root of all corruption is, what would I do for my family?
Yeah. They're not generous with. They don't reciprocate a lot. I'll put it that way. Like they don't. They're the worst. They're absolutely the worst, and it
becomes a big problem. But the other males, the MGTOW males, we're the ones that have to be noticing about this.
It's like, so go ahead. I was just gonna say that's why I don't hang out with these people. I just distance myself. Yeah. I distance myself, and I just go out to eat by myself. I don't really.
Right.
I'm always picking. I always feel like they're always leeching off me. Like I feel like people are always leeching off me.
Oh, when I go out to eat with a really good, respectable guy, and I mean, we're both like jumping at the check to pay it, and it's a really good feeling. It's like someone bought me my lunch. It's like, oh, dude, someone reciprocated.
Yeah.
It's a really, man. Now, when you think about that in that position where you become the benefactor of reciprocal altruism. It's a good feeling knowing that there are people out there that do reciprocate, and that's usually generally males, but that's a part of empathy too. That's an empathetic thing. They feel, oh man, Joe's always buying, or he feels he needs to buy, or because he's a single guy, and obviously he should, huh? But and then someone does reciprocate. That's a good empathy there, where we're more with a contagion that you're more a part of your community than when that happens.
I have a friend in Vegas who's he's involved in a lot of crazy shit, but the thing about him is he's one of those guys that he picks up the tab, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah,
I really do. And just for that simple fact, wherever we go out to eat, he's always. And a couple of times when I see him doing that, and I had to like pay the tab before him.
Yeah, I tried to do that.
I mean, he's got funds, right?
Yeah,
because he's involved in a lot of stuff. He's got money, whatever, right? So he likes to spend it on his friends. That's what he likes to do. And I just have a lot. I don't participate in his activity and stuff. Like, I could have got involved with some shit out there, but I didn't want to do it. But the thing is, like, I have a lot of respect for him just for that simple fact, because it really is a nice thing to do to people.
Right.
Like, that's why I always will respect him for that.
Yeah, when you're in a relationship, and this could be man or female or mostly buddies, when you're in a relationship where reciprocal altruism is respected like that, man, it makes things so much easier. You can trust them.
Right.
Your business partner. You know you got someone watching your back. You know
Right.
you rely on this person. And
Right.
that helps a lot.
Right. And it's the other way around for those guys that are always taking. I had a family member who's I
And you
don't
know
talk,
you
I
can
don't
rely.
talk to him anymore. Just on take, and it's like after a while, it's like you know, I mean, I'm talking about years. I mean, it's not like I'm giving a guy a couple chances. I'm talking 20, 30, 40, 50
20,
chances.
40 chances, yeah.
Yeah, and you just get sick of it, and it's like, forget it. I can't be around this leech because now my own survival's at risk.
Right. And you know, it's always it always goes back to like he's got to do for his girl, and that's why he got no money.
Right.
And he's always thinking about her over you too. It's that House and Wilson relationship too. It's like they battle back and forth with this in house with Wilson's, like they have this bromance going on where
Yeah.
that's real with men. We have these we have these emotional contagions like that where we want to see people do the right things, and I want to do the right thing, but there's a lot of guys out there that don't do the right thing, and we always have to be cautious about
No,
it.
they're always on the take. Like those are guys that you're right. They're always on the take, and you know, forget it. You know, they don't. Yeah, you can't be around those people because they're just
them are the strings you got to start
leeches.
cutting too, and you feel bad. There's another part of that where, man, now I feel bad. Now that the passions are invoked, like man, I got to cut this friend because he's just too hard to deal with, and I just had to do that with my lady.
And it's the guys too that you're not comfortable asking them for something. Then you know that relationship's not good. If you're not comfortable asking for them for, like, you know, whatever, ride to the airport, you know, whatever, stuff like that, little things like. You know, if you're not, like, there's something wrong there if you're not comfortable, but they're comfortable, but they're always asking you for stuff, you know.
Yeah, that becomes common chit chat. It's like, man, on your way here, can you drop me here? And you're like, sure, dude. And you do these things, and there's this bond in this relationship where you do these things for each other, and when those things are violated all the time, or you know, in the normal people that I keep around me, like if I need something, then I just ask, and it's not such a big deal because he knows that I'll reciprocate.
Yeah, it's a respect thing, and you don't see a lot of like stronger men. Like a lot of the stronger men are the ones that are always they have more empathy. Like it's definitely a sign of strength if you have more
empathy in that fashion, that manner, is a sign of strength in men.
Because you have more to give. You have more to give when you're strong yourself. You have more to give.
Right now, I think on the other end, there's that man up thing where people start expecting empathy from you, and that's about our social contract is all about expected male empathy when it's forced upon you. And that's a bad thing now. So this thing becomes very confusing at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think we're hitting on some good points though. Like having too much of it is, you know, you don't want to be capped. Definitely with women, it's like, forget. Like you know, listen, if a woman's on the side of the road stranded or something, okay, yeah, you know, I don't like to help them out, but I'll help them out. I'm a human being. You know, it depends on the situation, right? Like I've given the most money I've ever given a homeless person was to some chick, and she's not a chick. She was like an older lady, and she just looked terrible. She was like, she had dirt from head to toe. She had dirt. She was covered in dirt, and she looked terrible. I just made a score. I hit a couple baseball parlays, and I gave her a real nice, I would give her some money to help her out because I just felt so really bad for her,
Right, I do that all the time.
And she was like mentally, I could tell she was mentally not
mentally ill too, probably.
Yeah.
That's
but most of the time, 90% of the time, if I give money to homelessness, it's gonna go to a man. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah, I got a little payment back on it. Remember the kid I said I gave the $20 to at Christmas, and he ran across the to the grocery store, and I seen him the other day, and I stopped, and there was another homeless guy. I gave him a half pack of cigarettes, and he just leaned out the window and he says, "Always doing something, aren't you?" And he smiled at me and he gave me so he noticed it, and it was it didn't go unnoticed, and it was like there's some payoff there, that payoff, that physical, that I don't even know what you call that. At least I'm a good dude, and it's noticed in my neighborhood, and like that's a part of empathy too, being a good person and being noticed, and that would be the altruism. If you can't give back, at least you can be altruistic and notice the person as a decent human being.
Yeah. Yeah, and you definitely yeah, no, it's good. It's a good way
Well,
to, again, the stronger men are going to be the ones that are going to be
right,
giving.
right. We do that with awards to people that are super altruistic and everything. We give awards out, and that's a great thing to notice that they are, just to notice that they are trying real hard to be them people, them good people in life. So that's it. I think that's sort of a reverse empathy. We're empathetic about he has needs. He needs to feel that, man, he is doing good.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see how this reaches out into sociology, into our, and why we do give the awards, and why we look at the better people in our neighborhoods, and we just tell them that we notice you're there. And I think that's about life too. When even when I do my thing and I thank the cash register lady and I tell her how good of a job she's doing, that, and I always say that's for me. So I keep a positive attitude, and that comes back on you in positive ways. And there's a little empathy involved with that, And I'm sympathetic that you have to work there in those horrible conditions all day, and people are mean, and I can feel empathy towards you. And just saying a nice word to the cash register lady at the general dollar store or something. She's there struggling all day, and everybody's like, that's your job, just do it. No, you're there and you make my life easier when you do a good job and you do that smile, and you just and you're nice and courteous and that stuff. It's like you should notice that in your society. You should. It's your moral obligation to kind of affirm that to these people too. But that goes unlooked. How many times? I see really horrible people too walk into a gas station at midnight and just be horrible to the that cash register attendant's working the third shift at a BP in a bad neighborhood, and someone's going to walk in there and be horrible to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell them they're doing a good job, and how much, hey man, I was up, I ran out of cigarettes in the middle of the night, and I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's part of empathy too, expressing your gratitude. And that would be gratitude. Wouldn't express your gratitude for the working people around you, Jill the sandwich lady, the chicken girls,
You get that more in the rural area, like the rural areas. The bigger cities, I don't see as much of that. Like in downtown.
No, in the bigger cities, you usually have they expect it. Everything's them are the people that they don't know how the groceries got on the shelves. They think magic fairies did that at night and did it for them, and they don't see the hard work and the backbreaking labor that of putting cans up on a shelf all night. What's involved with that, and you should thank those people when you see them, and at least show some gratitude.
Yeah.
But people are selfish, aren't they? When they don't show that, they kind of expect these cans are all. How am I supposed to? And then they're nasty in the grocery store, or they're nasty to the girls and even the guys that the stock boys and stuff like that. Man, them are the worst kind of people. Them are the people you don't want in your life.
No, stay away from them. And I wouldn't even. I'm at the point now. I just don't even give second chances really anymore.
I just
can't afford to. When you get older, you really can't afford to.
You can't afford to start.
Yeah,
people are going to hurt.
They're burned pretty bad. Yeah, you can get burned pretty bad.
They're going to eventually hurt you too. I used to say there was this girl that my brother was bringing around, and he brought her around for a long time. I guess he liked her a lot, and I just started noticing that, man, you ain't never had a good meal in your life. She complained about every single meal that we ever went out for, and usually she didn't pay for them either.
Wow.
But nothing was ever good enough for her. She never said a kind word for the waiter or the waitress.
Yeah, you can't be around those kind of people. And
finally, I put that thing away too. It's like, man, show a little gratitude. These people aren't slaves. They do this to help you. Otherwise, you're at home eating a can of beans and weenies out of a can.
Yeah, and I would say another thing too, like the whole idea of forgiveness, like, oh, you should forgive people. No, actually, no,
Yeah,
that's another inaccurate thing, because that's like the people that wrote these scriptures, or whatever you want to call them, holy books or whatever, like books
yeah.
that they want you to be that way so they can continue to shit on you over and over again.
You know my
So
ideas on remorse.
don't forgive. Forgiveness is a sucker bet. It's a sucker
Yeah,
play.
remorse.
Forgive yourself maybe for making a mistake, or
Right. Forgive yourself.
or you trusted somebody and they fucked you over, whatever, something. Okay, that's different. But forgiveness should not be. You have to know if they overstep their boundaries and they screwed you. And no, there's no forgiveness. They just, you
Right.
move on.
There's a difference between regret and remorse. Remorse is to bite again. It's Latin, to bite again. That means
Yeah.
you're going to forgive them and they're going to do it again.
Right, they're gonna do it again. They're gonna do it again, and that's why you're right. It's ridiculous. It's a total joke. There's no forgiveness.
Now that's remorse. They're just when people feel remorse, it's like it's a useless gesture unless you're
No,
unless you
God forgave you. God forgave you.
yeah, God forgave me, and then they do it again. It's like, oh, you just bit again. You bit somebody again, and you're going to
Yeah,
continue doing that. And
the God that they created, the one
the
that
God
forgave
that you
you.
created in your mind to alleviate your compassions for other people, or relieve any kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They just forgive themselves for any kind of wrongdoing, and that's psychopathic. They
Right.
have no conscience.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous. There's so many dangerous ideas in these books.
Right.
These
Yeah.
books
That's
that people
forgiveness
follow. I hate to
dangerous.
say the B word. I hate to say that word, the B word, but
Yeah.
it's such a terrible book in general. Even
Yeah.
the quote unquote good parts, like they say, oh, there's some good. I'm starting to think there's nothing good about that book, because it's a total like programming book. It just programs your mind.
Yeah. It is.
Programming your mind. Yeah, it's going against what's natural. Like you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like when somebody screws you in nature, what do? You pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't advocate killing anybody, but if animals, when they have animal crime and they do so, that the other tiger is trying to maul the other one. It's like, like you're not forgive. We don't have a conversation on forgiveness. So I'm just going to maul you back.
Right. Yeah. When
It's
you
like,
do that,
it's like, you know what I'm saying? Because you can imagine if that was a way with humans.
well, that's
Like,
what the
people wouldn't act that way. People would not be getting away with what their with their horseshit if there was an eye for an eye. They would not be given away with. They would not. I guess that's in the Bible too, eye for an eye. But
the myth of Sisyphus was about. It was about philosophical suicide. You
yeah,
commit philosophical suicide when you do that. When you start believing in a God that forgives everything, and
right.
it's just philosophical suicide. You lose all agency in the world. You lose, and what you really lose is what's the word? Authenticism,
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense.
and it's
You're going
philosophical.
against your natural
Yeah,
reactions. It's not
your
good.
reactions. You should be making good decisions,
Right.
and that's philosophical suicide. That fucks everything up.
Yeah, because if somebody attacks you or punches you, like I was like probably I'm not trying to like, okay, so like me and this other guy were pretty much two toughest kids in I went to a small school, like 200 graduating class, whatever. But me and him were like the two badasses, right?
Okay.
But I was like this altar boy guy, whatever. So like if it's me now, I mean, I don't know how many people I would have put in, I would have messed them up really bad. But I was such a kind of a quote unquote nice guy that people would just, screw me. I would just kind of laugh. But if it got really serious, I would just grab people and just throw them up against, one arm or whatever, you know. And so, what I'm trying to make is like a natural reaction when someone comes to come at you is to really just take care of business. You gotta, but we got this generation of men now that are, they don't even know what their natural instincts are, right? Because they're following all these unnatural ideas.
Right.
This word of God thing, this whole thing about the word of God. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, there's so many social concepts that are, and that's why we say we use the matrix analogy in MGTOW, because there's so many social contracts that are screwed up, from fatherhood to the social contract, to a lot of our laws and everything. They're just screwed up. They don't
Yeah.
make sense, and it's absurd.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to trust your natural instincts. I mean, I think that's the way we can kind of start winning some of these battles. Like we have to trust
Right.
our,
That
you
was
know, she should not be like listening to a woman, like, you know, abusing you or what, a man either. You know, we should not have to take that abuse, physical, verbal, like it's like someone puts their hands on you or whatever. That's not it's not a, I don't know, that Christianity I'm kind of breaking. I broke away from it about 3 years ago. Is like it was 3 years. You know, I wish I could have done it 20, 30. You know, I wish I was never born into that type of belief system, because it really caused a lot of problems for me. Because a lot of people took advantage of me. You know, I took advantage of me.
Yeah, I mean, if I was able to see the world for what it was when I was younger, and even when Emron stole my money and everything, if I was able to see the world, I had a different option. I could have started my own 401 through what was the thing they had back then? It was called a
Roth IRA and
Roth IRA. I could have did a Roth IRA.
Personal, there's a lot of ways you can do it.
Yeah, and one of my buddies was doing that because he didn't trust the system. He said, "Man, there's something wrong here. It just looks too good." And it was too good to be true. I was making too much money, and I was going to retire too early, and then they took it all. But if I was like I am now today, and I had that experience behind me, I would have made a lot of different. I probably would have been retired right now. It would have been a lot better for me. I'd have been able to afford that $244 book that I'm stressing right now.
Yeah, I know. It's just life experience. That's the thing. It's almost like these rich people. They just they teach their kids at a young age how to screw everybody over.
Right.
And they're pretty much laughing. They're laughing at these people that actually believe in the Bible.
Right. There's a social consciousness that says that's okay to do. Teach your kids how to be ruthless and cunning now.
Right. That's what they are. And the most ruthless and cunning ones are really the simps or the spurgs, right? They're the ones that have to be that way because they're not physically strong enough to do any of the they can only do lighter than air jobs. They can't do those plumbing jobs. They don't know how to hunt and fish and all this kind of stuff, right?
Just an obfuscation for not being able to do it's so they have to be. And I know you want to know that your kids are taught to be ruthless enough to take the initiative to win. But there's somebody look at the way Trump was raised. He's just,
oh my God, yeah, he's a disaster. I mean,
he's a disaster.
His picture when he was in the military.
He wasn't. No, he's never in the military.
Well, he was in a military academy, but he has like a military uniform on. He looks like a woman. I mean, he looks like a girl.
Yeah, he was.
Teachers are so boy. Like he looks like such a simp, you know.
Yeah, that was band camp.
Yeah, and Obama too. Look at Obama. He's like 150 pounds soaking wet. I mean, the guy's like he's like a. Like he's not an astute. Like he's not. Like he's. I mean, they're all both of them. I'm both part. I mean, I don't even care about politics. I really don't. But just like these guys are not very. Like they're not. You know. Like Patton. That's a guy. Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah,
that's the guy who should have been leading our country. A guy like George Patton. You know, somebody like that, or MacArthur even. I think guys that had a little bit more like masculinity.
Yeah, the last president I had any respect for, I think, was Clinton. I mean, he is
You're making me laugh, but go ahead. That's all right.
No, he's a self-made millionaire. He comes from the wrong side of the tracks. And Billy Bly, you know, but he was a little bit cunning. He was a little bit ruthless, and he took what Hillary's family gave. I can't remember how that story goes. He took like $50,000 and made it into like 500 million.
Yeah. So, I don't know. He was, I mean, they're all corrupt, but
and he played the saxophone.
They're all just, you know, they rely on like.
Eisenhower was probably the last masculine president. If we talk
I don't hear a lot of good things about him either. Like,
Eisenhower?
I don't hear a lot. Well, Teddy Roosevelt too. He was a guy. Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, the first one. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, not Teddy.
I guess but that could have been just propaganda, right? Oh, he's a hunter fisherman guy or whatever.
Oh yeah. No, who's the one that God
Well, look at Kennedy. I mean, talk about a pussy bagger. I mean, geez.
yeah.
Kennedy was,
Yeah.
he's with Marilyn Monroe and whatever. He's banging all these whores in Vegas. I mean, I don't know. It's like these guys are not really good examples for
Right. He had
anybody.
the ultimate woman too. What was her name? Jacqueline.
Yeah, yeah,
She
yeah,
was the pitch. She was the woman that always tried to model what I see. Like she stood up straight. You can almost imagine her carrying
yeah,
books on her head. She
yeah,
had great posture. She dressed perfectly all the time.
yeah.
I
Total
mean,
woman. She's very feminine. Yeah.
yeah, she's very feminine. She was she had stoicism about her, didn't she?
And
There was a
and now we
stoicism.
got and now we got what's her name? She's Michelle Obama. When she was there, she was like 6'5" now. She could slam dunk a basketball.
It's like basketball. Oh,
She played linebacker for the Jets.
yeah, that's a feminine trait, huh?
Yeah, well, Milan, I don't know about her either. I don't know. She's like what was she, like a hand model or something, or soap model? I don't
Yeah, well, she's a prostitute. He
know.
bought
Yeah,
that.
she was a. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was working the streets in Tijuana before. Yeah, but I've never been to Tijuana. My friends are like, "Hey, we should go to Tijuana." So, yeah, I'm not. No, I don't think so. I'm staying right in my country. I love this country. I'm not going to Cambodia. I'm not going to freaking Brazil or all these crazy places.
Man,
I
yeah,
think they're crazy. That's just me.
yeah.
But
The banks used.
whatever. I love this country. We have everything here.
Oh yeah. Ooh, why even leave?
Why would you leave? Yeah, why would you leave? You're born in the United States. I know there's some people that are going to disagree with this, but I'm sorry, man. Like I've traveled. I'm not a truck driver, but I've traveled cross country about 9, 10 times. New York to LA. Like I've gone different routes, and boy, I tell you, we got a lot going in this
I
country. A lot
couldn't
of
wait to
positive
get back
things.
to Cleveland when I was out of Cleveland. I tell you what, I can travel 40 minutes, go into Cleveland. There's going to be at least 6, 7 events going on down there. There's going to be a casino. I can. There's just
Mm-hmm.
there's so much. I can go see a show. I can go see. I can go see a sporting event. I can go see a concert if I wanted to, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's just so much going. No, why would I want to not do that?
Yeah. Why would you want to go to Cambodia and eat rice and
Right. I can go.
come on and talk to people that don't even speak English and forget it.
There's like 3 or 4 sections of like food areas in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I can eat Chinese. I can go to that section and get the best, not
Yeah.
just good. I can
Yeah.
get the best. I can go to the flats, or I can go to the west side, get Italian.
Mm-hmm.
What's that restaurant I like on the west side?
I'm craving a pizza, by the way. I haven't had pizza since I had to go to the hospital last year for my leg.
Did I tell you
It's been 4 or 5 months. I haven't had a pizza.
yeah, did I tell you
I'm
my
getting tempted, man.
I've been eating these the insurance company, they want me on a better diet, so they sent me like 30 days of food in frozen
Oh
vinegar.
yeah. You're telling me Stofers or whatever they sent you.
And they're really good for you and everything, but with that I did that the activated charcoal thing.
Yeah.
And within 5 days, I got to tell you, Joey, there's been there's been marginal changes, and
Yeah.
there's been huge changes. There's been life-changing changes for me within 5 days. I think I told you I started thinking about whether I was getting toxins or something, because it seemed to remove something and do something for me. I feel better. My legs feel better. My feet aren't.
Yeah, me too. Me too. When I went to the raw meat and cheese, raw cheese and eggs and what else? Pretty much those three.
Yeah. So within
Raw meat,
4 days,
raw cheese.
I think everybody in this, you should try that activated charcoal for at least 4 days. And
Yeah.
if you do have something in your body that's toxic, it'll remove it. And it did.
I'll tell you, I'm done with no carbs, no sugar, no salt. Like I'm from like pretty much zero. I got like maybe less than 5% of my diet has those things, and it's like
Yeah.
5 months. I feel great. Like you said, I don't have as much neuropathy in my feet. It's like going away.
That's all gone now. I actually feel my feet now within
Even yogurt. I don't eat yogurt because it's too much sugar. Like too much sugar in the yogurt. And
I make my own with the kefir, and I do the probiotics with the kefir. With
yeah,
that raises my testosterone too, and I do that. I can put sugar in it if I want to sweeten it up, or I don't have to. So it's up to me to do that. So making it yourself is definitely better.
I mean, if you stay away from this carbs and sugar, and you're gonna solve a lot of problems. Like you're gonna live a lot longer.
So I've come to the conclusion with me that I had a protein. I was unable to digest some proteins, and that was screwing with a lot of stuff. And when I did the activated charcoal, it cleared all that out, and now I'm feeling really great. I rode like 20 miles, and my feet didn't even swell the other day.
Wow. Well, where do you get the activated charcoal? What store?
I just bought it at I think you should really try it. It can't hurt nothing by doing it for 4 days, and you might have outstanding results.
I cook with unsalted butter and or bacon.
Yeah. So just try it. You can get it at Amazon for like a decent price. Just you get a little jar and you don't need. I bought a big bag of it. I overbought.
Yeah.
And so I'll have it for the next 10 years. But and I can make it too. I figured out how to make it.
Yeah.
So I can make it myself too. And I was screwing around with it with water purification, making my own for water purifiers.
Yeah.
So I learned how to make it, and I just I'll buy some of this food grade stuff and then take it. It's kind of nasty. You drink it like in a glass of water. It's like drinking charcoal in a glass of water, which is not pleasant. but man, outstanding results. Outstanding.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you feel good, that's all that matters. You know, people overemphasize their weight. You know, it's like how much do you like? They think if you're overweight, it's unhealthy, and if you're underweight, you're healthy. Like that's not true. Like it's not. No. It's not. You could be slightly overweight, or obviously you don't want to be too big. But if you're 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight, it doesn't mean you're unhealthy. It doesn't necessarily mean you're unhealthy. Not if you're eating the right foods. Not at all.
Healthy,
no way.
The idea of beauty, it gets skewed with the idea of beauty nowadays, and the idea of beauty now. And it was just totally different than healthy. Healthy is not beautiful. Beautiful sometimes is very unhealthy.
Right. I see these skinny women and stuff, and I know, like, if I were to have children, no, I don't want children with that type of person. No way. I want someone to be taller and a little thicker, and
which comes to male choice too. I'm not having just because it just happens to be that skinny.
No, those are not women you want to breed with. They're a lot of them are bulimic too. They're bulimic, and they got weak bones and anorexic or whatever the hell. They got a lot of problems.
No, I'll talk about this. Men, one of the biggest lies in MGTOW is that female choice rules, and it doesn't, because I made my choice. I picked that one because I wanted my children. I seen maladies in myself, and when I picked that one, DNA wise, she fulfilled those that diversity, which I seen the maladies in myself, and my kids are rather beautiful, and so I made a good choice, and they're smart, and you did make a good choice with that, but it was my choice. And female choice is a myth too. And men, you hear a lot of female choice with the TFLers, the PUAs, and the incels, because yes, female choice, they're subjective to female choice. Now, men like us, we're not subjective to female choice. We make the choice. So when we hear Hoka talk about TFLs and the girls will pick you, you don't pick the girl. No, that's totally wrong.
Yeah. And what does he say? Hoka?
Well, female choice is that's polygamy too. That's how polygamy gets developed in our society. It's all through female choice, and that's cryptic choice, cryptic sexual choice, and we're taking it way too far in our society. Where if females are choosing, sometimes they're choosing what's that beaver guy. Uh,
Um,
they're choosing men like that to mate with.
Naughty Beaver, or not Naughty.
The singer kid, Justin.
That's some other genre. That's a Illuminati guy. What's it called? Beaver.
Bieber, the singer.
Oh, Justin Bieber. Yeah.
Justin Bieber.
Not the pitcher for the Indians.
Not the
100 pound.
No, I
the
can
guy
see
that's 120-pound singer or whatever with the haircut.
When you take those two guys, the pitcher for the Indians or the singer, which one do you think the women would want to mate with?
Right, it's the pitcher, of course.
It's the pitcher. He's masculine.
Right.
I mean, he's probably perfect as for body structure and strength goes.
Right.
That should be their choice. But if they're picking the other one,
that's right.
You got to start asking questions about whether they're sane or not.
yeah, they're not. Well, yeah,
no, they're not.
Well, it's like my friend that was the PUA. You know what? I'm not trying to brag. Like I'm getting older now too. I'm not like Hollywood actor here, but like he's like maybe 5'8", 5'9", maybe 5'10" tops. So like, and I'm like 6'1", 6'2", and he would always like. Now I look back, like he was kind of using me to hang out with him because he felt like just by my presence and
banning you
the way I looked, the way he would want me around so he could attract more women. Now I see what he was doing. I'm not saying I'm the whatever, but best looking guy in the world, but whatever.
Oh, you know what you attract. You're very. We've talked about that for. I know exactly what I attract when I walk into somebody.
Yeah,
you know that too. You know exactly. You're not screwing around with all the rest of them. You go.
Yeah, but that's why he wanted me around, was because of my big shoulders and height.
You know exactly what's going to come to you, and I know you believe it like I believe it. When they come to you, you don't have to go to them.
Right. I don't go to them. No, I don't play that game. I'm not a lapdog or whatever you call it.
No, I'm not that either.
No, because it's not masculine anyway, and it's not natural. It doesn't feel natural for me to be that type of guy. I always felt squeamish whenever people would encourage me to act that way anyway. I trusted my instinct. I wish I trusted them more, but
you're thinking your intuition on them things are right. I know exactly when I was dating and I was in my 40s or something, I used to walk into the bar and I go, nope, that's the one.
Right.
I knew exactly what.
For me, it was always going to be a kind of a, I would say like almost not like a linebacker, but like a big girl, but not too big, right? But it would almost be more like a woman who's just a little bit got a little more weight on her, not too big, and she's got a little height.
Height's nice.
I'd be interested. Like I wouldn't like those too petite. Like they're not. They need to have a little bit of meat on it, like almost a little chubby, I would say. Not fat, but you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how to describe it. Like I guess I would describe it.
That's a part of doing your own introspection too, because you're not shooting for the moon and you're not going to get turned down. You know exactly what likes you, and that's about being in touch with yourself. And you do them.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like a person, like a actress or someone that I would. I'm trying to think who's out there. But it wouldn't be someone like it wouldn't be like a Courtney Cox, right? I go on Friends. Yeah. She's like scrawny and like little twerp, type looking woman. So it wouldn't.
What's that? Juliette Lewis.
It wouldn't be her either. She's so ugly.
Girl in the world, Juliette Lewis.
It's a competition between her and Jessica Sarah Parker. What's her name?
Jessica Sarah Parker.
Like those two are just automatically like autistic looking, nasty. Like.
Now a lot of guys like that, and I was like, always wondered about that.
Like Vivica. Like I say, first time I saw like Vivica A. Fox, like she's a little older now. She doesn't look good. But the first time I saw her, I was like, yeah, that's a girl I want to like try to,
Okay, yeah.
Like if she was just a regular broad working at the Walmart, right? She's she's obviously be in those circles, to get with her. But let's say like she was just a regular girl. Like she's got the height. She's not too thin. Like she's not too. You know what I'm saying? She got a little thickness.
Yeah.
Like she'd be like a type of one. That's the one you want to like. That's
I was like
even Queen Latifah in a funny way. I always make fun of Queen Latifah.
Healthy.
But Queen Latifah when she was like. Back in the day when she was, she'd be like, that would be like someone probably a good person to breed with, kind of, because she's kind of like, she's got she's had healthy bone structure, and
I was like Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, yeah. So she's like a little too thin for me, I think. But
yeah, and that's the kind of woman that I know that appreciates me too. It's like I rarely look at the rest of them when I see. Okay, I know these attributes.
yeah, it's someone who to me, it's like they have a healthy body, like they have a
Oh yeah, she's got a healthy body.
yeah, like a healthy. You gotta have a sharp mind to, like these women. Yeah. So anyway.
Right. God, I spent like how many? I used to complain about this all the time. It was like spent too many hours sitting across a dinner table listening to some woman talk about her fucking cat.
Oh, yeah. You have to have a little bit of.
Yeah.
My friend Joe calls it dead fish. You stay away from the dead fish. But,
Yeah.
but now that I'm getting older, it's like, yeah, whatever. I've embraced the big tail thing. I don't even care anymore, really. And whatever. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to speculate on things and just look back on your life and like who the women I was attracted to versus the ones that didn't care for. And I remember this Irish girl I went to high school with, and she had like these freckles and she had a nice smile and she was kind of a little taller. And like back then, it's like, man, I don't know, for some reason I was attracted to her, and she never like dated anybody, but she was smart. She had a lot going for her. Like, damn, if I had to go back in time, if I would have dated one, it would probably be her, because she had the red, it was a totally different look, DNA wise. That like,
well, you fulfilled diversity with her. You've seen something.
Yeah.
That, okay, I spot these problems in me, and I fulfill diversity with that. And you.
Yeah. And I went to school. 80% of the class was Italians, so it's like I wasn't.
Yeah, we talk about being around people like yourself, but being around people like yourself too much is like not a good thing.
Yeah, because I always liked those Irish girls with red hair. Like I always, I always kind of got along with Irish, taller Irish women kind of thing. Like
yeah. See, I'm Irish. I don't, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, but the Italian women, I was never really. I mean, because I think you're right. I think there is such a thing as that diversity,
Yeah, well, there is. You male choices. You try to fulfill the diversity, which you look at what maladies do I have, and that's being honest with yourself too. You have to do the MGTOW thing, do your introspection, say these are my faults, and if I was 21 and choosing. I don't know if I would have chosen any differently, but I would have looked for probably a little deeper into like what my faults were. I'd had an ability to decide what my faults were back then.
Well, like for myself, I know I tend to be impulsive, so that's like
you would probably look for someone that was generally more demure,
calm, more calm and
calmness, that displayed a calmness, and those genetic. Those genetic things, they transfer.
Yeah, they do. You're right. That OCD thing. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. So but that's part of evolving as a person, right? You kind of what you need to work on. And
God, how many people our age and everything look back and say, "I wish I just would have known that back then."
Yeah, but that information's like it's like they keep it a secret. Like they don't teach us these things about how.
That's the Catholicism, and that's the reason.
Yeah, sure.
You're not allowed to talk about these things to kids.
No.
You don't tell them like, "Hey, dude, look at yourself, experience life, and find out who you are, and that way you'll make a better decision in life."
Right. I mean, you want to mate with for these guys that still want to have families. Like you don't want to mate with these scrawny women that are bulimic. Are too skinny. Like boy, if they're under, I'd say they should weight they should be around at least 140, 130, 140, 150. They shouldn't like these 100-pound women. Forget it. You're heading for trouble, man. That's like
you really want to mate with that Brittany? Really?
No. I'd say you want about 135 to 165.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, you want someone with some meat and. And I think also you gotta be careful with these women that are vegetarians or vegans. They're not getting healthy.
Right. You can look at her hair, her teeth.
Yeah, right. Hair and teeth, exactly. That's very important. That's very important. The teeth are rotting. It's because of the diet that they're eating all these fruits and vegetables that have no nutrition.
Right, and I think that's what I looked at my ex, and I said, well, she never wore makeup, and she was French, so she had that perfect skin. And I thought, well, that's perfect what I want for my children. I seen that as my, I'm white and pale, and
I mean, yeah. No, these guys don't know these things. And then the most beautiful woman I ever saw, she was like she was so attractive. I was playing poker, and I just had to ask her, like, I was just curious what her nationality, what her background. Her boyfriend's right there. Like, I didn't even give a shit. I just had to know, So she was like Japanese black, Okay. And it made sense. I didn't realize it then, but now it made sense now that diversity.
Makes sense now why you were attracted.
Yeah, because she was like stunningly beautiful. She was like a pretty much and she had a personality to match too. That's the thing, which so because it was that combination of and I thought she was an actress or something. I said, "Are you an actress or like a?" Because she was like she can knock out anyone in Hollywood. Like she was that attractive. It was like a Halloween night too, and she was dressed up in some whatever the hell she was wearing.
Sexy nurse or something, stripper.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah, and it was her personality that really drew me to have a conversation with her. And then I found out, Japanese black. I'm like, oh wow, no shit, huh? Guess
she was a stripper. That's why you were attracted to her.
Yeah. My buddy dated a stripper in Vegas. Like she was like nasty, man. She was like 100 pounds, like nasty, like bad attitude. She had like, oh boy, thank God he didn't knock her up because that kid would have had a lot of problems. She had all these scrawny like bones, like no boobs. I mean, oh my gosh, what a disaster.
Yeah, a lot of them are really
but it's a disaster with the drinking and smoking and substance abuse. She'd have to get high before she went to. He used to drop her off at the strip club, and that's kind of why I stopped hanging out with him. Like because he was hanging out with her, and I was like, forget it, I'm done. I can't be around freaking out.
You're gonna get chlamydia.
Yeah, it's just. And then I remember like talking to her a couple of times. I was respectful to her, and
was she?
She's one of these girls. What's that, guy?
Was she hard to talk to? Is she stupid?
Yeah, she's just like a ditzy broad. She had like these big eyes, like she was attractive, like, but physically, like her face, but she's just too much of like skinny, like, but she was one of these girls, like I throw like a party in my house, when I used to do those type of things, and she would like sabotage like him, like me and him, like he used to do a lot of the cooking for these parties I used to have, and then she would sabotage the party. Like she said, oh, you can't go. He can't go. So she wouldn't even come out when we had these parties.
Yeah. Now Omar says something very interesting there. His last comment. They picked Justin Bieber because of survival capability. They're thinking about themselves rather than the children that they're going to sire.
Yeah,
that's a real selfish thing, isn't it?
So, well, they put out the ideas of what a man should be and all this kind of stuff. That's all against nature,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we wonder why the violations of nature and everything. Well, women, sexual female choice is about cryptis is what you need to know about that. Is they're only thinking about themselves. It's conscious by concern with females, and they want all the men to be the fathers. So that's a social thing. So they're well taken care of, and they're not thinking about their children. Now men think about what my children's going to look like, how my children are going to act, the mental capabilities of mating with a smart girl or rather than a dumb girl. We think about things like that.
Yeah.
We think about our children. So we're very empathetic and we're very altruistic when we make our mating choices, and men do a better job making mating choices.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. You got all these women now, all the makeup and
well, that was an interesting thing about the uncanny valley there with the makeup, and they look plastic, and your mind tells you that this is an object, not a human.
Well, and now too with the Right, with the breast implants
Yeah,
being a big thing, and then the butt implant, like it's really disgusting, and it's not, it's not natural, right? Of course, it's not natural. It's just
yeah. You have a portion of your mind, your ventral ocular lobe. It's right up around here somewhere. It tells you that this doesn't look right, and it's not a very
well,
good choice.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the girls that are you know, all the
You know,
makeup and the boob.
who I used to really like a lot when I was a kid was that Leslie Easterbrook. Ever see her? Like I had a big crush on her, Leslie Easterbrook. She was on Police Academy. Yeah, I don't know. Like I used to like wow. Like if I were to ever get married, like she's old now, but back in the day, like if you ever see Leslie Easterbrook, like she's just stunningly like if you see her like back in the day, like I mean, to me, it doesn't even get like like you see her like in the day, right? When she's like,
Yeah,
she just has that. She's like her body's not. She's not too. Oh, I guess I'm looking at some pictures of her now.
I can't remember the
She
poster.
was on Police Academy. She was the one with
Oh,
the.
Police Academy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she's the one that. She was the one that used to. Yeah, she was like the wild one. she. But I
Yeah.
just thought her features. She was like so beautiful
Yeah.
I was just like infatuated with her. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Leslie Easterbrook.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. Charlie's Angels back in the original Charlie's Angels. Farrah Fawcett, Jill St. James, and what was the other one?
Jill St. There's I don't know the other ones, but
Yeah, Farrah Fawcett.
but
Jill
look
St.
at Leslie Easterbrook. You look at her facial features too. She's like very very attractive, like very like her. Yeah, she's got a lot going for her. Even like now looking at pictures of her, she's older. She still looks pretty good for her age,
Yeah, Farrah Fawcett was a rather stunning woman. She perfect hair, perfect teeth. That was too filthy.
See, Farrah Fawcett to me is too thin, and I don't know. I wasn't really into that.
I thought she was a little on the healthy side, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But Jill St. James was actually better looking, I thought.
Jill St. James, yeah.
What was the bigger one, the taller one? That's the one I can't remember. Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angel. What's her name? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look at Kate Jackson. I heard rumors about her, Kate Jackson. Like she was, I don't know.
Yeah, she was the more in charge one. The Demir one more in charge.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else was there. Who were the? I don't know. Even like Penny, like Laverne and Shirley, like I don't know, Penny Marshall. She was okay when she was younger. She was not bad, but yeah, she ended up being like really ugly later.
Laverne, she was like the upper class with the. She looked like.
I think, but Raquel Welch was amazing too.
Raquel Welch. Yeah,
I remember the first time I saw her, I was like, "Wow, who's that?" Like I was like, 10 years old or whatever.
Yeah, too bad she turned out to be a whore.
Raquel Welch, yeah, and but she was like kind of a thick. She's not really she wasn't like super thin or anything, was she? I don't think. Raquel Welch. She was a curvy woman, She was stunning though. Raquel.
Yeah, I always remember that. You could look it up on YouTube. It was Bitter Blues, and then what's her name? Melanie does Bitter Blues, and then they do the Raquel Welch when she's on the train driving into town, and I can't remember the actor. Lee Marvin was in it, and
Okay.
Yeah, it was the Lee Marvin and Raquel Welch movie, and Bitter Blues was the song, and Melanie did it, and you said, oh wow, she's a rather attractive woman at that point of her life.
She's 80 years old, Raquel Welch.
80, well, she's still alive.
Think I got a shot with her. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I want to see how old Leslie Easterbrook's old too. She's like 70. Leslie Easterbrook's 71.
71?
71. Yeah. Wow.
All those old poster girls that grew up, huh?
Yeah. I tell you, I just got lucky. I mean, for me, I just got lucky to run into MGTOW, man. It's like, wow. It's like, because I don't know. I mean, you figure at least one marriage. You figure most guys are going to have at least one, right?
Yeah, usually.
Or one child out of, by accident. Like my buddy, he had a child out of, wedlock. He didn't get married, but
thing today that baby mama number, she says baby daddy number 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how much our society has dropped into female polygamy, which was polyandry. women have their choice, and it's like men are disposable now, and it's like no wonder millennials are so worried. It's like, Jesus, this thing's gone all out of control.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not good for industry. That's not good for business. It's not good for
no.
It's not good for anything. Males hold up to society. I mean, uh, whether they believe it or not, if all these males that are really worried about these situations now, because no male wants to be baby daddy number two, it's just paying. That's all you are as a slave, to pay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's like men are going to start opting out, and it's going to cause quite a. It's going to cause. Well, you're seeing
I'm
it.
surprised it hasn't happened faster. I really am. Because MGTOW stuff started coming out, what, 10, 15 years ago?
Right. Yeah, we stunted some of, well, the alt-right and the entryism into MGTOW stunted MGTOWs terribly over the last few years, and we should have hit that peak, that peak social. We should start making our way into the social norm, but we never did because of the alt-right and what the horrible impact they had on us. And uh, it's like, what are the TFL, the incel, the alt-right, all those groups that were, even some religious, when you look at like Dr. Grande doing MGTOW stuff, it's like that's
Oh,
entry.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's just
Total
entryism.
spurg. Yeah, total spurg. Yeah.
I mean, this thing should have hit. I mean, we were really moving up. The original years the big years were like 2012 to 2000, to probably, 2016, 2017. We were trending. And, I could
Yeah.
honestly say men were finally starting to learn about the MGTOW philosophy. And then certain things happen politically and in the social climate that, we take on a lot more. Um, I think there's just a lot more impersonation of MGTOW now. It's like that frat boy MGTOW is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually learning the philosophy as you should learn a philosophy.
Yeah, they just don't get it. They're gonna suffer. I mean, that's the thing. You're gonna suffer. If you don't have the
Yeah,
knowledge, you're gonna suffer. At least
they're
understand
just
what you're getting
dragging
into.
it out,
Yeah, they don't understand what they're even getting into. These
Right.
guys. It's just out of it.
Back in the day, around 2004, I think it was, when we were talking about MGTOW, it was like, we don't want to let this thing drag out. And that's why we started MGTOW, is because we didn't want this thing to drag out where my son was going to inherit this horrible. It would fall on my back to present MGTOW to the world and have a different philosophy for men, but that never happened, and it's almost 20 years later now, and it's like, we've just become the same kind of losers as the MRA, and that's sad because MGTOW has such great impact on a male's life in a positive way, and you can see how that bothers society. They want slaves. They don't want independent, free-thinking men that are decent and don't want nothing to do with their religion or their lies.
Mm-hmm.
They just want.
Yeah, I think you have to tackle that religious thing too. Yeah, for sure.
You have to tackle that thing, and that's a hard one to jump to.
Yeah.
When all your life you've been telling that there's some Jesus and God's running everything, and then just look to the universe. That every time you get confused, and the universe will send you magic gifts. No, that's not real. You have to do it. You have to do some work on yourself too. And the world is a cruel place, and you have to come to grips with all that stuff, and that's a hard thing to do when you're living in La La Land and Disney fantasy fiction land.
Right. That love is real. That's the thing they don't get. That love is, there's no such thing as love. It doesn't. It's
No
not.
such thing. No,
It's just a made up word. It's just a made up word.
Yeah.
Like, people don't get it. There's no such thing as love. It doesn't. It's just a stupid word. It's a stupid word.
No. It relies on an over amount of empathy, which we were talking about today. You're giving. It relies on sacrifice, and You shouldn't have to sacrifice all that much for this planet. You should sacrifice. You should sacrifice enough where you've done your job, and like I say, that's probably 20 years of work and get a little education and but you've done enough at that point to live on this planet.
Yeah.
But they want more. They always want more.
Well, that's the unfortunate reality. Like you said, we're living in a predatory world.
It's a predatory world.
You have to acknowledge that and then work around it.
Work around it, yeah. And it's good MGTOW gifts. MGTOW's going to give you that out view on the world, or a world view where you at least you need to protect yourself.
Yeah, because nature's predatory too. I think, like I said, I always think it's good to mirror nature, like not mirror it, but understand nature, and then you can apply it to the real world, because they're not living in fantasy. These animals are not living in a fantasy fiction world. They're just
they live in a world of harsh reality.
Yeah, harsh reality. They're out in the elements. They don't have these nice houses to go to, or apartments or whatever, and shelter. I mean, they make their own shelter. I don't know.
Our nests.
yeah. They don't. Yeah, they don't have these. They don't have heaters like in the winter.
Yeah, I don't have
they figure out ways to get around it. They figure out ways to do it, but so you have to, it's a predatory world, right, in nature. So it's the same. It's not gonna. The same thing is gonna apply to humanity, right? It's that.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what they do. They want to keep you these people in the know. They want to keep you. They want to, the dark revelations. I mean, I don't know. I don't mean to. Probably a good video that
conspiracy theories and stupid shit, and you're believing in absurdities. You got to be able to spot those absurdities in life. And well, we've been going 2 hours and 11. That's about the time where we usually shut this thing down.
Yeah, the dark revelations.
Dark revelations, huh?
Yeah, no, it's a good podcast. I know we just kind of, but yeah, again, back to the main point was the empathy thing. Yeah, I think we answered it pretty well. Like, you don't want to go too far with it.
Different kinds of empathy, and some are good, some are bad. You have to examine what's put yourself at risk, and consider yourself. Consider yourself as a human, not a male working machine object.
Yeah. You don't have to. It's okay, and it's okay. Like today, I didn't like today. It was cold, and my buddy called me. Want to go for a walk? I said, I really didn't want to go. I wanted to just stay home and rest up today. And
it was a good day.
just told no. I said no. I said no. I said maybe tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrorow morning. What is it? So you have those boundaries that you can. I don't have to say yes every time. So because he wants to go and I don't want to go.
I'm packing it up tomorrow. I'm going down and hit the rocks.
Yeah, you got to have those boundaries, and you don't have to return every phone call either. You don't have to. Don't be that guy. You don't have to return every phone call. You don't have to. You know what I mean? You can. You
can go out yourself and do something that you want to do, and not have to worry about whether everybody else is taken care of and everybody else is happy.
Yeah, and and that whole forgiveness thing, boy, you got to rethink that one, because you started doing that forgiveness thing, and you're gonna dig a big hole for yourself.
You're gonna be a big hole. Yeah, forgiveness.
You're gonna be like a piñata, and what's it called? What's it called? Piñata? Like they just keep hitting you in the head.
Yeah, that's philosophical suicide there.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Coming on, great talk, and I meant to have more dialects, but I didn't get a chance to study today.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna shut this thing down, and like always, I want to thank everybody for coming around and listening in, and people that listen in the future. If you get this far, thanks for coming around, and most of all, man, thanks for being MGTOW.